All right. We should be all good and set. All my settings are set up good. Microphone, you can hear me, I can hear you. So that's always a plus.
Yeah.
So how are you doing today?
Not too bad. Yourself?
I'm doing wonderful. We have lots of honey-do lists because we put our house on the market,
Okay.
and every time I come home from shift, my wife has something else for me to do.
Yeah. We just come home from Florida, and
Oh, nice.
yeah, we got home last Friday about 3 o'clock, and by 9 o'clock the pool was open and porch furniture was out, and yeah, it just keeps growing.
Nice. Is Florida part of your retirement plan as well? Most of you guys up north tend to make it down to the Panhandle.
Yeah, we've actively talked. We kind of like the Clearwater Madeira area.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
We've never gone. We were supposed to go to. Oh, we were supposed to go to vacation up in the Panhandle. Next was it? I wish I could remember the Destin. Supposed to go to Destin,
Yeah,
and then
38.
vacation got canceled 'cause that's when COVID hit,
Okay.
and then we
Yeah,
never made it back there.
Destin, Pensacola, 30A, Seaside, all that's pretty awesome. Beautiful, beautiful area. Sugar sand and clear water.
Yep, someday.
Yeah, same for us. So, well, welcome to Heavy Smoke Showing. I'm a small podcast. I'm nothing big. You're our 10th episode. It's going to come out. Oh, and I'm sorry, 11. We just released Chance Craven yesterday. I've had that recorded for about 2 months. And so I'm slow about getting stuff edited and out there. I just, like it to be good content before we put it out there. Um, I'm all about pushing the fire service forward. I like hearing different perspectives. I like hearing different viewpoints. And we ask questions from time to time, but really I just like the conversation to organically go where it's going to go. But I do have some questions. If it doesn't organically go somewhere, we'll talk about those. But for every negative question or answer we have, we always want to lead with a positive question and answer on that. So first, thank you for taking time out of your day. I always tell everybody that comes on time is our most valuable asset. And anybody that takes time out of their day to sit and talk with me, I can't tell you how appreciative I am. It means so much to me that somebody would take their life and put on pause and sit down and just talk to me. And I think we overlook that with one another. And I am extremely grateful and appreciative of your time, and thank you for it. And look forward to having this conversation with you.
Well, thank you for having me.
I'd love for you to introduce yourself. Tell us, where you are if you want to. You can name your department, not, or where you are. Just who you are and history in the fire service and what got you into it. And
Well, my name is Brian Chalfont. I'm the fire chief of Jefferson Hills Fire Rescue. We're about 10 miles south of Pittsburgh. Um, we're currently a volunteer fire company moving towards career staffing. I was able to work things out with our municipality. I have 4 people on duty 24/7 out of 2 different stations. So 4 people on duty, 2 in each station. Unfortunately, we don't. They're all part timers. No one's full time yet. But that's the strive to keep pushing forward to better the organization. Um, I'm also currently a staff instructor at the Allegheny County Fire Academy. Uh, we're within the city of Pittsburgh, within the county. Our academy is about 10 minutes north of the city.
nice. And so, what do you do at the fire academy? What's your role there?
I'm one of the full-time staff instructors, so I teach suppression level courses in the rescue. I do trench, confined space, rope, swift water rescue, and those natures.
Oh, got all the fun stuff.
Yes, extrication.
Oh, yeah. Well, outside of all the stuff that we like to try to cancel, that one truck that does all that stuff and send them back home. It's
Understand?
always fun. Cancel the squad. It's always the number one priority on scene. Get the patient out before they get there.
Yeah, that makes a little upset.
So what got you into the fire service, Chief?
It goes all the way back to my father joined the local volunteer fire department where I grew up, and just hung out at the station with them, and the different activities and family functions they had, and got me interested. Now, if you ask my mom and dad, they're saying I was destined to be a firefighter since I was a small child. Um, I always was Frankie the fireman or something for Halloween or so on and so forth. But I think the main thing was my father joined the local volunteer fire department, and I started hanging out there and saw the camaraderie and the family aspect and the brotherhood, and kind of grabbed a hold of me and never let go.
Nice. And so you use that one word that I'm very passionate about, brotherhood. And I think a lot of people in the fire service nowadays throw it around a little too loosely. And it is my goal and mission to the best of my ability to bring that meaning and that word back into the fire service. What have you seen in your tenure and brotherhood from where it was when you started and where it is now? Do you see a big difference? And in that difference, what do you how do you think we got there if you see one?
There is a difference from when I started till today's day and age. Um, what I've noticed too is, when I was younger, when there was sports and stuff involved, you only played, like, football was a time frame, and then baseball, basketball. Well, now everything's evolving year round. So the guys and girls in the fire department don't have the time to. Their family life is taking them elsewhere. You don't have that camaraderie in a firehouse anymore as much as it used to be. And I do believe social media is one of the biggest problems in today's fire service.
Yeah,
It,
we'll definitely get on that down that rabbit hole here
yeah,
soon.
that can be a big rabbit hole.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I love talking to different firemen from all over the country to the best of my ability to, again, hear those perspectives. And I was talking with someone the other day, and we were just talking about the changes in the fire service. And one thing that hit me and that I brought up was with the brotherhood, used to stations, departments, crews would hang out, once a month, have a barbecue at somebody's house or a get together somewhere, hang out outside of the station. Now we all live so far apart. But not only that, like you said, family dynamics have changed. In the 80s and 90s, and maybe even early 2000s, less women were in the job force. And now in 2025, a majority of the women are in the job force just all over. So um, the dads and the women who work 24, 48s. I'm not saying that women don't work in the fire service, but um, traditionally the guys would work and come home, and you know, uh, the mom would be at home and take Billy to the soccer games and stuff like that. But now, on the 2 days off, mom's usually working, and or the other parent is usually working, and so those 2 days off or whatever your schedule is, you're usually taking kids to do things. Myself, for instance, every day, Monday through Friday, we have to be an hour away from the house at my daughter's dance academy. She dances Monday through Friday, 4 to 9. It's an hour drive there. You do 4 to 9, hour drive back. She's homeschooled because of that. And so I agree that you don't hang out as much as you used to. And I
No,
think that's huge.
it is. I've listened to several other your podcasts, and I do believe your other episodes. In the days of hanging out at the fire station and cooking and just everybody hanging out and getting along, those days are long gone. Unless
And
someone
it's
was born and raised into that. Um, I'll use my wife for an example. Her dad was a career firefighter for the city of Pittsburgh, and then when we start dating and I'm in the volunteer world, she's not accustomed to, hey, the tones drop, you take off and you go. Um, and then it's the family lifestyle. Like I said, there's so much going on. You don't have time to bring the families together and hang out.
Yeah, so we had a crew. We worked Easter Sunday, and our crew brought our families up there, and we had a big Easter lunch at the station. However, my wife couldn't make it. She was working in the ICU, and then someone else's family couldn't make it because they were doing something. So a lot busier these days. I
Yes.
agree. And I try really hard to put things out there. Hey, we're going to go to a Braves game next Tuesday. Anybody on B shift? We're going to go on a C shift day. Anybody want to go? And I put that out to the whole department. 800 people. I might get 10, maybe on a good day get 10 to show up and do that. So yeah, man, that's a what a great point. So uh, we'll go ahead and just dive into the social media thing so we don't prolong it, right? You said you feel like social media plays a role in that. What's your perspective
Well,
on what role it plays?
so you have a lot of keyboard warriors out there.
Oh man,
And in today's society, it's so easy to sit back and Monday night quarterback everything. And you have the professionals who graduated from the Facebook School of Firefighting um, that know everything. They take a snapshot picture at a time that somebody posted on the Facebook or whatever social media platform they're using, and they just sit back here and destroy everybody. And back when I was growing up, if you want to talk smack on somebody, you had to do it to their face. Now it's so easy to hide in
yes,
the keyboard and say whatever you want. There's no repercussions.
yeah. People have forgotten what it's like to get smacked in the mouth.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, we've gotten soft over the years. Yeah, so same thing. A few little videos we put up. One for instance is the GoPro mount that my driver was wearing, and we had taken off his gear, come back from a fire, it was still wet, had sheetrock and insulation all over it, and we had pulled it off because we have a second set, and he was getting into his second set, and I'd had several people ask me what kind of camera mounts we run, and so I filmed his. It's like a little 25-second video, and it's got like 1 million views and like 800 comments of "You're gonna get cancer. I can't believe that's how you wear your gear. You're a disgrace." And they took a 25-second clip, you know, and judged me that's how, oh, you're just trying to be a Billy Badass because you want people to see. No, I was showing you the mount. We're
Yeah.
changing the gear. Uh, yeah, if you could maybe we just all need to play a big round of hockey.
No holds bar hockey, huh?
Yeah, but you know, social media. I tell everybody. I was just released a podcast yesterday with Chance, and Chance Craven, really got into social media, and I hate it. I do. I had a conversation with him in there where I miss the days of nobody could get in touch with you, right? And you went somewhere with your family. You did what you went to go do, and that's it. Maybe you paid $7.99 a month and had a pager on your side, maybe, and somebody could beep you, and you call them back, or you can get to a payphone or a landline or something. But those were nice days to just be able to go and be with your family and not have those disruptions. But on the flip side, it does have its benefits. And I would never be sitting here talking with someone so like minded like you, or have this opportunity, if it was not for social media. And I like to scroll social media, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, all that stuff in some of my free time, which is not a lot of. So I'm glad I got to find the video. But I ran across a video, and I like to take videos of the fire service that people have put out there and give kudos, because, like you said, there's so many keyboard warriors that post stuff and bash people. Um, I had a video that one of our stations put up that we shared. Engine 11 stretching a hose line. Our driver stretch our cross lace through the front door. Tailboard forces door, mask up, and gets ready. Well, as he's doing it, we have a modified Minuteman, and the nozzle flopped down as he's moving, and it drug the ground for 3 or 4 seconds. And man, the keyboard warriors were just telling us what pieces of shit we are, and we need to train harder, and we need to do better because that nozzle should never drag the ground. And I agree. But the house was burning. First engine on scene. He got the line to the door, threw a ladder for VES, got a water supply by himself, and they ended up making a grab, putting the fire out, all in 7 minutes. But all these keyboard warriors could see was that the nozzle drug the ground for 4 seconds as he's pulling it. So I like to put positive videos out there, and in doing so, I ran across a video, an amazing video at that. That it's blowing my mind that it does not have more attention, and maybe you don't want it to. I want it to have more attention for you, but to see a story of a firefighter doing their job, doing what they took an oath to do, one warms my heart and tells me that this thing is still real. That hey, the fire service still has real firemen in it. And two, there was no keyboard warrior in this thing. So I'm gonna let you explain it a little better. But from what I saw in the video that I shared, scrolling through and saw a headline of fire chief goes in to make a rescue, gets burned. And so the video goes on to show a ladder, room flashed over. I think you had just were coming out, reports of entrapment. You did with oath, you did what we're supposed to do and put them first, yourself second, went in, suffered some burns. And not only that, you're a chief, right? And we rarely hear that. We hear firefighters that won't go in stuff. And here you are, the chief of your department, still through the ladder, went in to a very heavy fire situation to give this citizen a chance. And we have a culture where some firefighters may have looked at it and said, nobody can survive that. It's not worth it. Well, that's not for us to decide, right? You did your job. You went and made the grab, and God decided what happened after that. So from me to you, thank you for being such a positive role model for this profession, being a true firefighter, someone that like myself and other firefighters can look up to. But I'm going to let you elaborate on it. I've jabbered on way too much, and people want to hear you and not me.
Well, thank you for the kind words. And as I said earlier, our department, we have staffing on 2 in each station 24/7. Our station conditions have gotten better, but it's a work in progress. And I work some of the overnight shifts. I can't work the daylight shifts with my current job, but I'll pull a 12-hour shift overnight. I'm not going to ask the troops to do something that I won't do myself. So I happened to be on duty that night, and my deputy chief, him and I were working. The tones dropped, residential structure fire, 4 people confirmed and trapped. It was a full station dispatch, so both of our stations responded. And I drove the ladder truck that night. And we arrived on scene. Mutual aid chief was standing there and said, she's in that window. Can you set your ladder up to that window? And my gut told me there wasn't enough time. I saw my lieutenant running up the street. I told him, another guy, I said, throw me a ladder. I'm going. And, we teach the VEIS in the fire service, and there was no visible fire coming out of that window. I felt it was a searchable space, survivable space. So I made entry. Had another 18-year-old firefighter follow me up the ladder. He just got his firefighter 1 like a couple weeks prior to that, and he followed me up, and he kept saying, Chief, you got fire over your head, you got fire over your head. And found the victim, was able to extricate her, passed her off to him. I'll go to tell anybody, we teach all these different techniques of getting victims out windows, and you're going to do this and you're going to do that. It doesn't happen that way.
Yep.
You know, got her out the window. I attempted to come out the window, and through all the hustle and bustle inside searching, I ended up having coax cable wrapped around my leg. So, with the fire, coming around me, I chose to go back inside, get down on my hands and knees to cut myself free, and then ultimately made the decision that I'm going to do a window bailout, the wrap 3, or grab 3, wrap 2. But gravity took over, and I overswung the ladder, and down I came. Fortunate for me, my SCBA unit hit the window air conditioning unit, which rotated me, causing me to pretty much land horizontal with the ground. But the big man upstairs, he was looking over top of me. A couple guardian angels, I say, was watching over top of me. Former fire instructors who taught me when I was younger and taught me my first firefighter survival courses. I believe those are the ones that brought me home, because I walked away with some burns, but nothing broken.
And so, you say when you first got there, you didn't see visible fire in the room. So, I know the keyboard warriors came out commenting, "I can't believe you went in that. I can't believe you would do that. Um, there's no way they could have survived that. At that point, it's a write-off." What's your take on opinions like that versus in the moment what you actually saw,
Um, I
and the decision you made?
I did have people come up to me and tell me that I should never enter that building. Um, it was unsafe. I've had a couple keyboard warriors tell me that I endangered my crew. I didn't send my crew in. My crew did what they were trained to do, and I couldn't be any prouder of the crew that was on scene, because they were making aggressive pushes to get up to her. Um, I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. No fire coming out of that window, and I made the decision to go. I was beating myself up because, as an instructor, we preach isolate, 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 that I missed the door. Talking with the fire marshals afterwards, like, no, there was no door. It burned off prior to your arrival. But we did not know that.
So did you find her before you were going to go shut the door? Is that why you think
No,
you missed it, or?
no. I entered through the window. I had the thermal imaging camera. I swept the floor, looked where I can, and I was making entry. You just did your typical right-hand search on top of the bed, under the bed, swing around. I did look for the door with the camera, didn't see anything. All right, okay, well, if I come across it when I'm doing my right-handed search, I'll shut it. It wasn't there. But I was on my way out because the conditions were getting pretty nasty, and when I found her.
Man, so I know you had said all the grabs and techniques and stuff. I think, if I'm not mistaken, 97% of grabs end up being dirty grabs. Is that
Yeah,
kind of what you encountered there?
yeah. There was no time. I mean, I'm sure if the conditions were better, I was able to isolate the door. Things might have went a little bit smoother, but there was no time. I could feel my shoulders burning. I could feel my back burning. It was just get her up and out, because I know she was in a bad atmosphere for an unknown period of time.
And so the keyboard warriors that came out, things like that. What would, if you could put them all in a room and stand up and talk to them? What would be your speech to them? What would be the main point you would want to get across to them?
I tell a lot of my students when I'm teaching classes to take a look in the mirror. And the person staring back at you, is that the firefighter you want coming for you? And I granted some of these fire chiefs, that came to me, or firefighters, and they have all these questions, and I would have never sent my people in there. I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do that. Maybe they wouldn't. I consider myself maybe having an unfair advantage with my position here at the Fire Academy. How long I've been an instructor, um, teaching in the Class A burn buildings, we kind of know what our limitations we can push our gear to. Um, we have a flashover box here at the Allegheny County Fire Academy, and I spent a lot of time in that box, so I know the high heat, all the precursors, the flashovers. I've been in them. As a matter of fact, when I came out, I knew I was burnt, but I've been burnt before and didn't realize how bad it was. It was my fingertips that made me decide that I'm going to go to the hospital, and the paramedic pretty much telling me that you just fell 16 feet out of a window. You're going to the hospital if I have to knock you out myself. You know, yeah, you're probably right. It wasn't
At least go
until
get checked.
yeah,
At least go get checked out.
it wasn't until on the way to the hospital that she's like, "Hey, let's take your shirt off so I can see how bad it is." And the facial expression, I'm like, "This isn't good." I knew then that, but again, it didn't hurt. The only thing that was hurting me was my left fingertips because they were all blistered, and once they cut that skin and relieved that pressure, I was like, I was pain free.
And what injuries did you actually sustain?
I had second degree burns to blistering to my fingertips on my left hand, my forearms, my left shoulder, right shoulder, and lower back on each side of the SCBA. It settled into third degree burns. So they told me second degree in the emergency room. Um, they sent me up to the burn ward at UPMC Mercy Hospital in downtown Pittsburgh through the outpatient center. They treated me, wrapped me up like a mummy, sent me home. Came back a week later, and they took the bandages off. And I'm like, okay, you settled into third degree burns. Um, there was a lot of discussion whether they was going to send me for skin grafts or just treat me with antibiotic ointments and stuff and see how things progressed. That's the route we took. And a month later, I was back at work.
Lots of Silvadine.
The wrap that this stuff that it almost looks like an oil absorbent pad, but it had
Okay.
Silvadine and stuff in it, and that's why I was wrapped up for the first week. After that, I used an ointment combination called Polysantal. I was self-debriding myself at home. My wife was bandaging me up, taking care of, changing the bandages out, and once a week I get onto the burn unit and see them. And like I said, that was August 23rd was the injury. September 23rd, I was back at the academy. That was a Monday, and that Friday I was in the burn building.
And since then, has there been any recourse or case study? Did you guys, make a case study out of this, or use it as a class? Was there any point where you thought um, you might get in trouble by someone else? Was it just kind of those things that was over and done with and kind of moved on?
Well, we brought the local critical incident stress debriefing team in. There's a big backstory behind this that I really don't want to get into.
Sure.
Um, the boyfriend of the deceased was a member of the local fire department in the community we were assisting. Um, so very well known. So we brought the critical stress debriefing team in. I have talked to a few different classes about it, um, but it was a big hype when it first happened, and then now it's like gone by the wayside. So people ask me about it. I talk about it. What do you want to know? I know Morning Pride. Um, talking with the Morning Pride representatives, talking with the MSA representatives, they gave me a general ballpark of what they think the amount of heat I was exposed to, but that's pretty much about as far as it went.
Okay. I would absolutely love to add this to one of my classes and case studies at some point. We can definitely talk about that a little later on, but I would love to use it as one of the calls that we look at in decision making. So I definitely want more people to see it, um, because again, like we talked about, too many times we just write stuff off too quickly. We talked about the difference in the fire service. So I would, after hearing your story, why the decisions you made, why you made them, just kind of get into a few questions. One of the questions I really like to always ask, especially guys that have been in the service a good while, is what is the number one problem, in your opinion, in the fire service today? And to finish up with that, what do you think we're doing right now more than ever?
So I think one of the biggest problems in the fire service today is we're definitely lacking personnel. It's not the glorious job. Um, you have to work for your money. You get beat up. Your body gets beat up. You know that. I listen to your other episodes and the different guests that are on, and they're like, man, this hurts, that hurts, this, everything's hurting. But it's not. What's the word I'm looking for here? It's not as elaborate to some people as it used to be. Take 9/11, man. Everybody after 9/11, everybody was pro fire department, pro emergency services. Now, I think people don't even think about emergency services until they dial 911 and they need you. And and that's when it is. It's like, oh my God, the fire department's coming, or I need a police department. We get a lot of bad rap about things, though.
Yeah. Um, After 9/11, it was the big never forget. We will never forget. And probably like the last 2 years, I feel like we forgot. We,
Well,
we, we have forgotten. And not we as a nation.
I think we do a pretty good job of memorializing it on the anniversary. But if you look at the people coming into the fire service today, the younger generation, they're learning about it in textbooks.
Yes.
They didn't experience it, so it's just another history lesson to them.
Three people on my crew that they were born after 9/11.
Yeah.
So, great firemen. I mean, I love them to death. They do a wonderful, fantastic job. They're not the typical what you hear about the young kids, this generation, that generation type kids. But um, that being said, what do you think we're doing right in the fire service now more than ever?
Well, the education is there. When I started how many years ago, yeah, your big major metropolitan cities and stuff had your fire training camps or your cadet classes. The small rural communities, you had a weekend fire school, and it was all on the job training. Now we're pushing better training out there. We're pushing better equipment out there. Um, there's more career opportunities now than ever from when we started. And we'll go back to the whole cancer thing. You know, the dirtier your helmet, the more banged up your gear, burned up your gear was. Man, that person was in there. Look at them. But then look to where the conditions it's leading to. So the education out there is so much better than it was when I started, and 35 years ago.
Yeah, I agree. You can go to a conference pretty much every weekend somewhere if you wanted to.
Yes.
We're actually, shameless plug, working to put one on here September 15th through the 18th in Athens, Georgia.
There's a little plug there.
Yeah, a little shameless. But yeah, I agree. Education's out there, and it's social media included. Um, I like YouTube. I like watching YouTube fires. It helps you see things. You can learn from it if you allow it to teach you. Um, yeah, it can be dumb if you just watch it and just try to armchair quarterback it and only pick out the bad things that they do. Nobody learns from that, but I agree. That education aspect is, there's no reason in today's fire service that somebody should be on the job 6 months in a year, and you say, what does this tool do? How long is that hose? How many GPMs in that? What is your friction loss on this? And them not being able to answer. You literally can ask ChatGPT right there, and it will tell you the answer to your question.
Oh,
So,
100%. I mean, social media is great when used properly. Because I've learned a lot of techniques, saw different techniques. Oh, hey, I'd have never thought of that. Seeing what different fire departments and organizations do. You know, your good friend Google. You know, you can be on a
yeah,
fire scene and, hey, what's the vapor density of this chemical? And ask Google. Because I'm not going to remember. I can't remember everything in my head. You know, and so you get your vapor pressures, your density, specific gravity, the whole 9 yards. Knowledge is there when used properly. I mean, it's a great learning tool.
so 35 years you're teaching at a fire academy, so you get to see a lot of the new, young, fresh faces that are coming into our fire service today. What is the main piece or the one big piece of advice that if they leave from your academy, that if they forget everything else, they better remember this?
So I try to stress the fact that fire kills. And it doesn't matter whether you're a volunteer or you're a career firefighter, you run 100 calls a year, or you run 100 calls a month. You know, when it's time to do that job, fire doesn't discriminate. So you always got to rely back on your training, continuous education over and over and over again. We run a 166-hour basic training course through here. We call the Essentials of Firefighting, and they're eligible to
Sorry.
take their firefighter one exam. But we have fire chiefs out there that don't have the basic minimum training requirements.
Oh,
You
yes.
know, and there's always things are always developing. And if you're not willing to change in this ever-growing environment, then that there's a problem. So,
I'm going to get my wife to get me a drink. Out here with this pollen in Georgia. Yes, I agree. The basics. I love that word. You talk about the training, and we said social media, and that you can get all this all this training nowadays, and it's great. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love it. Thank you. But I do see a lot of conferences and classes and things promoting this advanced RIT, advanced ladders, advanced hose line. Um, it's not advanced.
mm-mm.
Nothing about this is advanced. There's no advanced search. It's a search, and it's either you do the basics a lot and you get that search down so good that you're able to do it smoothly and it looks advanced, or you never train on it and you just look dumb when you do it. Same thing with throwing ladders. So, yeah, that education piece is there, but basics. Got to remember the basics to put that fire out. We get too caught up on these laser beams and starship techniques that people forget to put the fire out.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm a
know,
truck guy, I don't even care about that engine stuff. But the
y-
fire needs to go out.
yeah, you got to put the wet stuff on the red stuff. You know, and you got to get the faster the water is on the fire, the faster that you're going to put the fire out, or you're going to make it more tenable for the tenants and allow the truckies to get in there, or whoever is searching to find that victim. Because obviously, if you can't make that search or you can't make that push when you're in full turnout gear in SCBA, that victim's not living. So,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but if I squirt it through the water, I'm just going to steam them and kill them. But if you take longer to get to see the fire, you're going to kill them with the fire.
right,
Just
right.
put some damn water on the fire.
You know, I see these different Facebook pages out there and different posts that are out there. when I teach the fire dynamics courses up here and in the flashover, and I'm like, I'm never telling you we're not going inside, but get some water on that fire, knock it down, make it more tenable for them and us to get in and make a survival, a grab.
So the flashover simulator. How long have you guys had that? And how many times do the kids go through it when they come through your fire
Um,
academy?
so our fire academy is on its second one. So I've been here full time for 8 years now, and we got it just after I started. I'm not sure when the academy got the first one. Um, so we probably run that class 3 to 4 times a year. Um, we're not allowed to put our 17-year-olds into it. We have to wait till they turn 18 according to child labor laws. But we offer it so many times to come back, and I'm teaching a class this Thursday at my department and the neighboring departments of the fire dynamics fundamentals. And the following week we'll do strategy and tactics, and then we're going to schedule a week to get up here and hey, let's recognize the signs and symptoms of flashover. Let me put you through a flashover and tell you, you're not going to outrun it. It's going to win each and every time. You're not going to outrun it. So recognize it or do something to control it.
That's nice. I'd love to know your schedule of when you're going to run one a little later, since you're going to do one soon, and make my way up there.
Well, I'll tell you
And
what, you can bring you and a couple of guys, come on up, and we'll run one anytime you want.
sounds good. I'm an instructor at our department for our flashover, and with a cadre as well. Um, but I always love sitting through other people's and picking up tips, techniques, things like that that I don't know. Um, FDIC a few weeks ago, LA's cadre was out there, and I sat back and just watched. I was more the grunt this year, just kind of doing whatever they needed and watched them and learned so many new techniques. Man, it was great.
We
I actually
probably
think I have
passed.
a system. Oh, were you up there?
Yeah, I was at FDIC. I didn't get on for any of the hot classes. Um, I'm recently recovering from a dislocated elbow. Not too graceful on the ice, but I was able to go down and take some of the classes. Sat through some of the seminars.
I pretty much hung out right there on uh, Firefighter Alley, where all the firefighter businesses are, with
Hmm.
Next Rung and a few of those guys, Fire Mall Tools, just kind of hanging out, networking with them, and um, I did slip off and do some jiu-jitsu classes when I was up there. I'd like to drop in other places when I'm out and about. And one day I just stayed in my room. I think Thursday, I didn't even come out. I was just so many people. I was just burnt out. Just so many people. So many
Yeah.
brother, brother. It was a great time. It was really good this year. Hit the Fools Bash. Um, I didn't get into any lectures, but did a lot of networking, a lot of talking, a lot of going around handing out stickers, promoting our brothers, serving brothers, uh, fundraiser, things like that. So it was a great time. I always tell every fireman, if you somewhere in your career, please, please, please make time to go to FDIC at least once. Every firefighter needs the experience, and if you can, bring your spouse so that they can see, uh, what it's all about. It's a
But the
wonderful time.
first year I went down, I went by myself with another instructor, and then this time my wife came down with me, and she was kind of impressed. She works from home, so she was able to work from the hotel room. Then the evening go out, and we were at the MSA block party and a couple other places we went to, and she's like, "This is something I've never experienced before." With the
Yeah, that's
bagpipers and
oh, that's I got some good film of that this year. That's I think the first year I went, my wife had made the comment something like, "You better not find a girl up there." I was like, "Honey, there's like 237 men to one female. You don't go up there to find a female."
no.
It's a big old sausage fest up there, but it's fun. It's a good time. So one one final question, and it's the most important question, and I feel like I feel like you're going to get it wrong. The trucker engine.
I run a Quint, so
Okay.
I do have a dedicated engine. I have a rescue pumper, and I run a 105-foot Pierce Quint. Um, I like to do the rescue stuff, but on the flip side of it, if I have the chance to get on a nozzle, I'm doing an out of county or out of town response, or one of my deputies or somebody gets there and they got command and I get a chance to play. I'm a nozzle guy.
Smooth bore fog.
Um, Pros and cons. You know,
Yeah, I agree.
I prefer the smooth bore, but the fog nozzle also has its place. So I have a combination of guys in the departments. I just run the Elkhart XDs and breakaways, and you have your pick.
Yeah, I get a lot of heat for it, but I'm a fog nozzle guy. If I'm doing engine work, I love that hydraulic ventilation, but a lot of I'd say the majority of our fires where I'm at get into the attic pretty easy
Hmm.
here in the south, and I really like that fog nozzle once it gets into the attic. So, but I get the whole smooth bore for victims and steam and all that good stuff. Again, has its place.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pulling whatever's available.
I'm just gonna whatever the engine decides to do because I'm gonna be on the truck anyway, and you know, so or hopefully just gonna be searching or cutting a hole in the roof, things like that. So with with your years of experience in the fire service, making the decisions you have, we talked about um, some knowledge you'd like to leave the young kids, what you think is good, what you think is bad. If you had a magic wand and could wave it right now and change one thing about the fire service, this wand only works once, but it would change it forever and it would never go back to it, what would it be?
Quit bashing each other. I mean, we're all here to
Man,
do
that's
a
a great
job.
answer.
We're all here to do a job. Everybody's going to do something a little bit different. We're not going to agree on everything, but you got to have each other's backs. And
Yes.
it's not like that anymore. At least my opinion. You might have a
Oh,
close knit group core of people, 5 or 6 people, but for the most part, man, it's cutthroat.
it is. I don't know why other firemen hate seeing firemen get ahead. It, it,
Yeah, I don't know if it's a jealousy thing that, oh, they go to more calls than we do, or they got nicer trucks, better SCV. I don't know what it is. I can't pinpoint it. Um, but yeah, we have no problem destroying one another.
I have a theory that, especially, and it goes back most everything goes back to social media. It's weird. So every fireman at your department, for the most part, especially the ones that bash, they all want to be known as the Ray McCormicks of their department. They want to be known as that elite firefighter, that one that I guess they think a statue is going to be built about for them, or they're going to memorialize a truck in their name, and people at their department is going to know them for generations to come. But that doesn't happen, And I feel like when somebody starts teaching the classes or takes the initiative to make a change or to do something good, uh, maybe it's jealousy because everybody wants to be known as like that salty dog fireman, the top dog of their department, the most knowledgeable person there, and so they have to start breaking that person down or try to tear them down in order to keep their status.
Yeah, you're onto something there. You know, though I've seen people tear people down, talk down on them. I'm like, for what? Because that person decided to go do some extra training. You know, uh, their work schedule or financially, they're able to do that. Um, I don't know what it is. I mean, I know back
Yes.
home here, we're primarily in our region is pretty much all volunteer. Um, my municipality, I'm very, very fortunate with my municipal leaders. I went to them and told them, hey, there's a problem, right? I'm shorthanded. I need people. Financially, they were able to support us and back us. But there are departments that will not call because we're staffed, or they'll put you on second alarm. And I'm like, why are you mad at us? Be mad at your municipal leaders. You're going to them and telling them, hey, we got a problem, and they're not listening. So now you're mad at me because my municipal leaders said, hey, yeah, we're going to listen to you and we're going to help you. Again, I don't know if it's a jealousy thing or what it is.
That just made me think of something. Up where in your area, I do notice that lots of volunteer departments, hundreds and
Yes,
hundreds and hundreds,
yes.
just tons of them. Why is it set up that way in that area? Or I mean, do you is it a financial thing? Is it kind of we want to control our own little area kind of thing, or because here in Georgia, the majority of every county runs a county fire service. And so it's, yeah, we have little towns inside our county, but the county primarily here runs the fire service in pretty much every county. You got Cobb County, it's probably like the third biggest fire department here. They've got like three small cities in their county that have like a two-station department.
So I'm going to get chastised for saying this because this is a great debate around here now. Because people are calling for we need a countywide fire department because we're having major issues up here in our area with the lack of personnel, and obviously call volumes are going up. But one of the biggest issues is we're a commonwealth, and the way our commonwealth law is written, it goes down to the lowest level of government, and
Okay.
so it falls back on to local municipalities. So then we have a bunch of fire chiefs who don't want to give up their little fiefdom to say, hey, um, so that like the state law would have to be changed and county laws would have to be changed and these local municipalities would have to say, hey, we're no longer going to have uh, fire departments. It's a work. It's a there's work that has to be done.
I got you. So it's, yeah, complete opposite of down here because every county is going to have a county fire department. These little cities that do had to fight to get these to get their smaller departments within like lowest level government. So there, it's already set up that way, and it's going the opposite direction.
Yes.
Huh?
So like
Okay.
you have the
I,
city
I
of
never knew that.
yeah you have the city of Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Altoona, who they just had a couple grabs up there. If you want to looking for something else to do. Um,
Okay.
uh, but yeah, you have the major cities, some bigger cities and third class cities that have career departments. And you have some combination departments out there, but for the most part, we are genuinely volunteers.
Yeah, we have a lot. The county I live in is all volunteer, 100% with the exception of the chief and the fire marshal. And my taxes reflect differently that we should be a paid department, and I've made that very known. But the fire chief just tells me every time I'm like, we need to be a paid department, at least two people in the station. He says, well, Peyton, right now I can put 40 people on a structure fire with the volunteers. If we went paid, I wouldn't be able to do that. Yeah, but the truck would be here quicker than 17 minutes.
You could do that with a combination department.
Yeah, and my part time, it was combination when I started there in 2010. we had volunteers, and we were a combination. But as of 22, 21, 22, they phased the last bit of the volunteers, and now it's 100% paid. But
Uh,
the county has also grown tremendously. It was the next suburb outside of Atlanta, and it has exploded. So
you know,
they
the
had
old
to do
saying
something.
goes, a staffed house is a fast house, and the faster you get water on the fire, you know, and slowing down the progression of it, it's safer for you and the victims. And
Yeah,
a
I
friend
just
of
want
mine,
one person in the stations here. That's all.
get a truck there.
Yeah,
You might
that's
have a couple volunteers that live close by that carry their gear with them, and instead of them driving 5 miles to the station, they're going to go 2 miles to the scene because the truck's already coming.
yep. Just put somebody there 24/7. That's all.
I so the conversation I had with our municipality back in the day was, we don't have volunteer police officers, we don't have volunteer EMS squads anymore, we don't have volunteer public works going, hey, is somebody going to come out and plow the roads tonight because the roads are bad, right? We're paying, and the fire department needs to change.
I agree. Um, too long we've asked people to do it, to take care of their communities for free. So you're paying taxes into that community you live in, but then I think it's just yeah, you could just better use the funds that come in.
Well, I mean, a lot of these local, well, the majority of the local fire departments around here, the volunteers, they're fundraising to buy trucks. They're fundraising to buy equipment. And you know the cost of an engine nowadays.
2.4
Yeah, well,
easy.
I got a FEMA grant, and I backed a 2022 Spartan into my station, and we ordered equipment and stuff to put on it. So to replace that truck, it was $990,000. In
Yeah,
2 years, it went up. I'm like, how do you justify raising the cost of an apparatus $300,000 in 2 years, and it's unequipped now?
yeah.
You know,
That's pre-COVID. I think an engine from Spartan was about 850, 900,000 fully equipped for us, and now they're running about 1.6, 1.7.
yeah. So how do these? I don't know how these little municipalities can afford to keep doing that. You know,
We can't. My part time can't. They literally buy a showroom truck, like one that's been on the showroom floor for a while. That's like discounted at 50% off. It's the only
yeah.
way we can afford it.
I mean, the cost of turnout gear and SCBA's and everything is just going up, and that's not getting any better.
It's I did see a report that the DoD is investigating Oshkosh because they make all of their trucks for the DoD fire department. How they were turning over like a 4.2 billion dollar profit, but
Wasn't
yet
there a
their
whole?
trucks are taking like 4 years to make.
Isn't there a whole entire group? We won't mention any names for legal purposes. That the red flag was flown on.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's taking us 48 months to build these trucks, but we're turning a $2 billion profit
Yeah,
year.
yeah.
How? I don't know how. You're delaying stuff on purpose to turn a profit. That's what it sounds like to me. But I don't know. I hate politics. I just like the health and safety side of everything with the fire service. So, Chief, I appreciate your time. You got anything you want to leave us with?
Nah, just be safe out there, and like I said before, train, train, and train some more.
Man,
J-
I am all about it. If you have my number now, and whether you like it or not, we're friends moving forward. Um, I always am looking for new mentors, so you're going to be on that list, especially with your experience. Uh, you may not hear from me for 2 months and get a random text and asking about something and your opinion on it. But I will definitely utilize your knowledge moving forward in
Well, my
life and
cousin lives
service.
lives just outside. He lives just outside Atlanta by the airport. Um, maybe in September I might have to come down and see your training seminar you got going on and pay him a visit.
We'd absolutely love to have you. If you got a class or something you teach, let me know. We might can fit it in.
Sounds good, sir.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time. Again, like I said, it always amazes me that somebody would take time out of their day to talk to somebody with the likes of me. I'm nobody special. I just like to get to know people, hear their stories, and uh, hopefully try to get other people to hear their story as well. And I definitely think your story is worth hearing and and sharing. So I appreciate you getting on here, sharing that knowledge of the call, and I appreciate you being the firefighter you are that made the decisions you made that night, and and doing the job and showing others that this job ain't dead. Fire's still burning, and people need to be pulled out.
I always look at it this way. I took that oath to do it, and if my house was on fire and my family was trapped, um, I would hope somebody would return the favor.
I agree, and I love how, you've been 35 years. You're still teaching. You're still learning yourself. That you're still a student of the game. Same 22 years in. I still try to go to a class a month and be a student. I love instructing, but I love being a student as well. And sometimes people see me in their class, they're like, "Why are you in my class?" Because I want to learn from you.
Hmm.
I want to learn from you.
Everybody
They're like,
has a
well,
little.
what can I teach you? What do you mean? Of course you can teach me something.
Everybody has a little nuance on how they do things. This technique works better than that technique, or hey, did you ever try thinking about trying something this way? And like, oh my God, it's like it works so much better. You can always learn something from somebody.
Yeah, or something just hits somebody at the moment as you're talking about it. They recognize something about it. It's like, hey, if you just turn your hand this way, you're like, man, I've been holding my hand this way for 15 years. All I had to do is this.
Yep.
Yeah, I just kind of noticed it. So,
Yep.
well, thank you so much, sir. I appreciate your time. Uh, be safe out there, and if you need anything, please reach out to me and let me know.
You as well, sir. Thank you very much. Stay safe.
You have a good one, Chief.
You too.